how not to perpetuate the problem for your clients. What we're talking about is the benefits of leasing. Let me show you guys how you can win in your business today as well. Over the last 3 years, clients have paid more money for their cars than they've ever had to pay before. And now that the marketplace has shifted, their depreciation is so much greater than what it's been that it's hard for them to get out of their negative equity situation. So in this particular scenario where the MSRP of the vehicle is $50,000, the residual I'm using is 50% just to make the math easy. So the car at the end of the term is worth $25,000. And let's just say that this is a 3-year term, so 36 months. Based upon the information that I shared with you guys on my live video, and if you didn't have a chance to see it, go back and check out the live video. Really, really good information. It was on the fly, so I didn't get a chance to do this. And I love teaching, so this is a way for me to show you a supplemental video to the one I did earlier. The first benefit that your client is going to have whenever they're leasing their vehicle at the end of the lease is they can trade the vehicle. And what I mean by trade it, if the car has a trade evaluation, and in the scenario that I was using in my live video is $27,000, and the residual is $25,000, what does that actually give your client? That's a $2,000 equity position that they can use towards the purchase or lease of their next vehicle. So your client is coming in, and in most lease scenarios right now, I do have to let you know, they're probably not going to find this type of equity position, but there are some manufacturers out there that their residuals are still strong, especially in the import market. The market value of those vehicles is still maintaining a slower depreciation than some of the domestic market. So this could pop up, but it's not usually the case. But if it is, they can use the $2,000 worth of equity towards the purchase or lease of their next vehicle. Scenario 2, they can sell it. So if their trade-in value is $27,000, that puts them in how much equity position? $2,000. But let's say on the private marketplace, they may be able to sell that car for $28,000. That's an option that they have, or $29,000. That is a benefit of leasing that you should make sure that your clients are aware of to help them reinforce their decision, because the leasing gives them so many options, whereas the purchase is real simple. If they buy the car, they bring it in, they're subject to whatever the market value is, and whatever that is, that's what they get. It doesn't matter what their payoff is. But on a lease, it gives them additional benefits, and this helps to drive your client towards the lease scenario, which will keep you from perpetuating the negative equity, stick. They no longer can buy a car because the banks say that they won't loan enough money to be able to do that. So let's just say that they're able to get $28,500. In this case, the $28,500 means that now with the residual of $25,000, that's $3,500 that they can use towards the purchase or lease of their next vehicle, or they can simply pocket that money. My family knows how well I keep my cars, and they know that at the end of my lease, I want to have an opportunity to buy it from you, Chuck. Well, I'm going to see what the dealership's going to provide me, and I may explore the option of just selling it to one of my friends or family members for a little bit more because they're able to get a great vehicle. Leasing has a benefit from a resale standpoint because you're required to do all of the maintenance on the vehicle that the manufacturer not only recommends, but also requires. Your services like your oil and filter change, in-cabin microfilter, brake fluid change, air filter replacement. These are things that you're going to be doing on the vehicle anyway, but in conjunction with leasing, the manufacturer is going to give you benefits because guess what? You have done all those services, and the dealership can turn around and certify that vehicle. So that gives them the incentive to be able to offer you a little bit more because that's service work that they don't have to do. That's just a little inside hint, both for the consumer as well as for the dealer. So make sure you know your stuff whenever you're presenting the benefits of leasing. So the sell it option. The third option is turn it in. Turn it in. Circumstances change. We know that. We've seen so much change, and it's the inevitable truth of what we have as a human race is that change is the only constant. And when you're looking at circumstances for your clients, they may have lost a job. They may have had a situation where one of their family members is not working. They may not have the same financial state because maybe the business that they're in isn't producing the same level of success that it did in times past. And maybe they've lost income or they had a loss of pay in terms of what they make. Another option may be unfortunate circumstances where maybe someone didn't make it. Not only did businesses not survive, but there's a lot of people, unfortunately, during COVID and post-COVID that just aren't with us anymore. So God bless you. God bless your families. If you're one of those people and you're watching, my heart goes out to you. I lost my brother whenever I was 15 and he was 19 of cancer. Time shifts the perspective, but it never truly heals. Only God can heal. So complete side note, but to those of you who have lost a family member, maybe this is the scenario that's going to benefit you. You can turn in this car. You know that the vehicle has a $25,000 residual value, and maybe the circumstances are this. Maybe that car is only worth $22,000. Or in the situation that I mentioned in my live video, let's say that this car was in an accident, okay? Your vehicle had a fender bender, and you can see now this car is just completely whacked, and it's only worth $19,000. In any one of these scenarios, you can turn the car in back to the manufacturer. Now, leasing, it's important that you hear this little subnote. The car can't come in with the front bumper hanging off, windshield cracked, bullet holes across the side of the car. Usually they use what's called a credit card test. And that credit card test means that if you can't see whatever's going on, as long as the paint's not broken or there's actually damage where it's protruded through the actual metal, then if it's a credit card and you can cover that, most manufacturers use that test to be able to say, hey, that's normal wear and tear. But if you have bald tires, understand that those are things that are your responsibility to take care of through the lease. So that's a little small print for you, except loud so you can understand it and you can hear it. But in either one of these scenarios, the client can turn that car back into you and they can wash their hands. Now, if they have mileage overage, then sure, like we mentioned before, at the 25 cents or maybe 30 cents per mile, they would have a penalty for that. But I mean, those are scenarios that could possibly come up. Again, just be aware of those, okay? So that turn-in option is a way that your client can walk away from that vehicle. And hopefully you've done a good job following up with the client, providing them amazing service. And speaking of service, most leases allow you to include maintenance if the manufacturer doesn't already provide it. So it's going to just be them coming in, and you can keep that relationship going and maintaining that relationship with your client throughout the lease. But it's supposed to be an easy, seamless, and simple way to be able to maintain that relationship and help them get out of that car and go into their next vehicle with you. But if they no longer like the manufacturer because all of a sudden they decided that all humans should live on Mars, well, guess what? They can walk away from that manufacturer. And there's a small turn-in fee. Look at your lease agreement and you can see what that turn-in fee is. Whenever I worked for Mercedes-Benz and Porsche, they had their lease agreement set up where you knew upfront what that disposition fee or that turn-in fee was upfront. And then finally, the last option is called the love option. This love option is if you love it, you can buy it. Your client has the option at the $25,000 residual, they can turn around and buy that vehicle for the $25,000. And guess what? That works good for you as a dealership. You can have them bring the car into the store, and depending on your manufacturer, you should be able to take that vehicle into your inventory and turn around and sell it back to the client for the residual dollar amount plus whatever processing fee that you have. By doing so, that gets you an extra retail count. That means that you get an extra car deal. Now, this is not a gross maker, so you're not going to be thinking, oh, I'm going to have the client bring it back in and I can charge them 28 or 29 or $30,000 what the car's worth. That's not this scenario. Stop. That's not what this is for. This is a retail unit, and most clients need what? They need financing. So you can set this up for them for financing, and it gives you the ability to take care of them on the financing side. On a lease, their car is under warranty for the time of their lease. Now that they're buying it and taking ownership of it, this gives you the opportunity to offer a VSC, a vehicle service contract. Okay? Now you can offer them additional protection for the lease. For the purchase. So take advantage of this and make sure that you're offering them all their options so they know how to protect themselves for the next 3 years or 4 years that they're planning on having this. The love option is also great as well, because let's just say after 6 months that they've bought the car back and you're following up with them, you may have a client that needs that car. And if you do, you can reach out to them and let them know that, hey, I've got a unique opportunity for me to be able to buy that vehicle from you so we can trade them out of it. You keep them as a loyal client, and then you're able to turn around and help them with the purchase or lease of their next vehicle. A couple of things that we didn't talk about, and then I'll finish up. In all of these scenarios, the customer has options. They're not stuck with $5,000, $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 worth of negative equity. The manufacturer knows that if they lease, that the loyalty percentages of that client staying with the manufacturer are much greater. So they're going to loan a higher loan to value percentage on that vehicle. So they may be able to get you that extra 15% carry that the bank needs, that the client needs. So keep this in mind whenever you're going over leasing. You need to master this. If you want to build a book of business that generates you continual income over a 2-year and a 3-year period, you need to understand the vernacular, how to present it, and let the client know that this is a good option for them. Finally, loyalty. Manufacturers know that customers are not loyal, especially the next generation that's coming up. You have to present them with loyalty options. Most manufacturers understand this, and they will give typically, and don't mark my words on this because you have to look at each manufacturer and what their finance arm is, but they usually will give an additional $500, $750, or an additional $1,000 of loyalty money that's tied to them leasing a vehicle. And then the other thing, if you're presenting a lease, there's something called conquest money. Hear me, conquest money. If there is in a competing manufacturer, you need to talk to your finance company, your finance manager, talk to your director of finance, and see if there is conquest money available. This means if they're in a competing brand, I worked for Mercedes-Benz and Porsche. So if they were in a Lexus, if they were in an Audi, if they were in a Cadillac, then we would actually be able to get additional money to help that customer transition from their old manufacturer to the new manufacturer by offering them additional incentives. Sometimes that money is dealer money. Sometimes that money is advertised money for the client. If it's dealer money, that's money that you can use. If it's advertised money, that's money that has to be presented to the client. I hope you understand what I mean by that. So we've gone through the lease benefits. Stop perpetuating the 84-month and 72-month option with clients. It's just not necessary. Thank you guys. I saw somebody just DM me just now saying, hey, I need a video on that. So if it paused right there, you'll know who you were. You just interrupted the video. I love it. So my name's Chuck Griffith with Optimus Professional Solutions, sales training and leadership coaching. I can help you. The information that I'm sharing with you is not something that I read in a book. This is information that I know and that can help you take it from one level to the next level to the next level. Take your income from just being minimum to being maximum, from being very limited influence with your clients to being someone that's deemed a professional and an expert. And that's the person you want to be, because that's the person that's a top income earner. If you like this video, please click like at the bottom. If you know someone would benefit from this, please click share. Hey, thanks for checking out the benefits of leasing video. I look forward to seeing you in the next training. Peace.